After so many failed votes, it's clear we need to try something different. What the Senate is doing isn't working for either party and isn't working for the American people. Democrats have said we must address the health care crisis, but Republicans have repeatedly said they won't negotiate to lower the health care costs until the government reopens. So let's find a path to honor both positions. Democrats would like to see an end to this shutdown, and we want to respect Leader Thune's desire not to negotiate on ACA until after the government reopens. Therefore, we'd like to offer a simple proposal that would reopen the government and extend the ACA premium tax credits simultaneously, and then have the opportunity to start negotiating longer-term solutions to health care costs. Let's do all three. I've spoken with my caucus, and Democrats are offering a very simple compromise. Democrats are ready to clear the way to quickly pass a government funding bill that includes health care affordability. Leader Thune just needs to add a clean one-year extension of the ACA tax credits to the CR so that we can immediately address rising health care costs.
So basically what they're saying, and this is the proposal, ACA meaning the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, right? We all know it as Obamacare. And so what basically all of these Democrats have held the government down for, because Trump has gotten to the point to where he's basically trying to say, hey, listen, we need to go ahead and hit the nuclear button and completely remove their ability to prevent us from shutting the government down. And what that will allow us to do is to open up the government immediately, and then we can just figure it out, and it'll basically remove all of their negotiating power in the future, or, so on and so forth. And so what Democrats have basically done is saying, hey, listen, unless you continue to fund fully this trash-ass Affordable Care Act, which we all know, all of us, because a lot of us may have short memories, but the reality is that all of us know that since the Affordable Care Act has been passed, healthcare costs and healthcare coverage has been out of control, and it has been crazy the entire time. And so what I'm trying to understand is, how is this too much different than what they were already proposing and what they were suggesting in the first place, that then forced or caused the government to shut down because they were basically trying to subsidize different states and also help illegal migrants get healthcare coverage? Some people will ask, well, how are they subsidizing other states? Well, I'll give you an example. So you can take a place like California, who gets a ton of money from the federal government in the form of health care, right? And there's a lot of different programs in which these people source, or these states source, money from the federal government. But a place like California is facing double-digit billion-dollar budget deficits because of their inability to manage their budget effectively, despite being one of the, if not the biggest state in the United States of America when it comes to blue states, right? And so when we think about that, it's like, well, what is one of the ways, because I've started to deep dive into this extensively, and I can't wait to continue to have this conversation on the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. What are one of the ways that they do this? Well, for example, they get funding from the federal government, and illegal migrants often at times go to the hospital, so they don't have a primary care physician, but they'll go to the hospital, and what does the hospital do? By law, they are forced to see anybody that goes to the hospital for any reason, and so they basically leverage it in other ways, but they're basically leveraging our hospital care system to make sure that they get the coverage, or they get whatever it is that they need done or fixed, which then places like California get money from the federal government. They got to make sure that these hospitals stay open and that they, stay funded. And obviously no migrant is going to pay for their hospital care or visits here in the United States of America, despite the laws that they must be seen and they can't be denied to be seen, especially emergency services. So that, amongst other different things, are ways that Democrats are keeping people tied to the federal government, subsidizing their budgets, while at the same time holding people hostage and their jobs And now we're starting to get letters. I literally got an email from Delta because I got an international flight coming up, and I was about to take a flight this weekend, but I don't feel like the possibility of getting stuck in the airport, so I postponed my flight. What they're basically doing is leveraging people suffering and taking out loans and doing all of this other type of stuff, especially air traffic controllers and TSA members and furloughed employees. They're basically holding the federal government hostage to make sure that they continue to do these things because it is dire and they are going to absolutely positively destroy themselves and their party. And every day I see more people defecting away from the Democrat Party. They're going to destroy themselves because they keep holding the government hostage. And so now they're saying that this is a clean bill, the easy solution, and just fund it for an extension for a year, and then we're going to negotiate it after that. I'm not sure that the Republicans are going to go for that right now.
That's not a negotiation. It's an extension of current law, something we do all the time around here, as we all know. But we also offer this. Let's create a bipartisan committee that will continue negotiations after the government reopens on reforms, ahead of next year's enrollment period, to provide long-term certainty that health care costs will be more affordable. This proposal reopens the government and ensures working families who are shopping right now for their health care get certainty and financial relief. While open enrollment has begun, insurers can update their rates after we pass a simple extension of the tax credits. With this approach, we do not negotiate health care in the shutdown, as Leader Thune has maintained he wishes, and the American people get the tax credit extension they want. That is what many of our Republican colleagues have floated over the last 6 weeks as a compromise: a one-year tax credit extension and reforms to the credit beyond that.
If it's a compromise, why didn't they do this 5 weeks ago? Why are we having this conversation as we approaching 40 days of a closed government?
We will agree with the Republican request not to start negotiations until after the government reopens. All Republicans have to do is say yes to extend current law for 1 year. It makes sense. And since what we're proposing is only a simple extension of current law, the Senate could do this within a few hours. This is a reasonable offer that reopens the government, deals with health care affordability, and begins a process of negotiating reforms to the ACA tax credits for the future. Now, the ball is in the Republicans' court.
I'm still honestly, and I'm just being transparent, and maybe it's just because I'm a C student, I'm failing to see how that's any different than what they have been proposing all the way up to this point. They want more Affordable Care Act, which I think that is stupid and egregious and dumb. They continue to get their paychecks while hearing from their constituents that are suffering, and everybody is crashing out. And we know that the Republicans want to continue to lower costs that's in the federal government while at the same time trying to figure out a better alternative to Obamacare while not letting these trash states subsidize what they got going on by the federal government and leveraging this whole Healthcare Affordable Care Act to do so. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. T. Gently, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep y'all posted.